From floating around 500 to a statement 6-game win streak right before the NBA's trade deadline, the Toronto Raptors have quickly gone from sellers into buyers at the trade deadline. So in today's video, we're going to cover exactly what you should expect from the team right before the deadline. Let's get into it. Welcome NBA and Raptors fans to Amateur Hour Sports, the channel with dedicated NBA content with a focus on the Toronto Raptors at least 4 times a week, even when I'm on vacation. If you're wondering why I'm outside, I'm on vacation. I'm currently in London, England. I have been in England since February 3rd. All the videos you've seen in that span have been pre-recorded. I work really hard to produce this content even on vacation, so make sure if you enjoy the video, you drop a like, and as well, give a sub for dedicated Raptors content. If you enjoyed this video, then just wait until I'm actually in my proper recording setup. They'll get even better. But we do want to cover everything going on with the Raptors, even though I am on vacation, and there is a lot to cover. This team has really turned into a buyer, it seems, as we go into the trade deadline. They have won 6 games in a row. They are playing some of their best basketball. This was one of their toughest stretches of the season. It included 4 games in 5 days. It also included 5 games in 7 days, and they managed to rise up to the occasion. They managed to rise up to the test of those situations, winning all 5 of them. Plus, they had that extra run against the Charlotte Hornets in around the same position in the Eastern Conference, and they still got it done with a win in that game. Siakam has just been absolutely sensational. Really should have been an injury replacement for the All-Star game, but we'll probably get into that into another video. But lots of things have started to happen as it comes to trades. Hopefully by the time this video comes out, because I'm currently recording at 3 a.m. Eastern time, so if something were to happen, that would kind of put a damper on this video. Regardless, what can we expect the Raptors to do as we get towards the NBA's trade deadline? Because, we worked on a poll, and it seems pretty split whether or not the Raptors fans, do we want to go get a center, or do we want to get some more shooting for the bench? As it comes to the center situation, it's just become a lot more difficult. Domantas Sabonis got dealt to the Sacramento Kings in exchange for a package around Tyrese Halliburton. Now, we can all laugh at that trade as much as we want, but it does have a little bit of an effect on the Raptors, because all of a sudden, Miles Turner is now the only center on the Pacers. That's a pretty good situation for him. Playing with Tyrese Halliburton, that's a pretty good situation for him. Miles Turner may not feel inclined to want a trade at this point. It'll be up to the Pacers, but that could be a project that they could work with for the rest of this season plus next season in Miles Turner's contract. So I would say it's going to be a lot harder to trade for Turner at this point. As it comes to Poeltl, haven't heard a lot of noise in that endeavor, but maybe we can now look at Richaun Holmes. His contract is really good, and after they acquired Domantas Sabonis, Sacramento don't really need Richaun Holmes. That could be a really good one for the Toronto Raptors to pursue. But all these players we want, I think a true center is definitely needed. I think that if I could choose between having some extra shooting or get that true center, I would go for the true center. Though Miles Turner, maybe not available, but some other players have opened up. Regardless, it's going to be very difficult to make a trade, but even though it is difficult, I expect Masai Ujiri to make some moves, and you should as well, because last season, the Raptors, they were just getting started with a tank as we headed toward the deadline a whole year ago. Wow, it seems like so long ago, but I mean, once they hit to that trade deadline, the Raptors really committed to that sort of tanking situation, and even so, we still managed to pull off a really good trade. We got Gary Trent Jr. and Rodney Hood in exchange for Norman Powell. That trade, the Raptors, I was going to say a couple weeks ago, looked like the Raptors win that trade, and after the Blazers deal Norman Powell for not great of a return, Raptors easily won that trade. So when we were tanking, we still made a really good deal. So Masai Ujiri is going to be making some phone calls to try to replicate that sort of success from last season. Goran Dragic is the big name that we are looking at as well in this discussion. I think you can absolutely expect Goran Dragic to be dealt. I think the Raptors are waiting out for just the right deal to come into play. I think they're trying to get every little bit they can out of these trade discussions. I fully expect, I am like 90% confident Goran Dragic is going to be dealt by the February 10th trade deadline. What we're going to get in exchange, we did a video covering it about a couple of weeks ago, but essentially there's 3 ways we can go about this. We could take on a salary dump, we could salary dump Goran Dragic, or we could find a trade for a team that actually wants Dragic and is willing to give us some decent pieces in return. You're not going to get the world for Goran Dragic, but you can get some depth. You can get some players that are going to help out your organization. I think that's what the Raptors are going to try to do in this situation. But I expect expect that to happen. I expect the Raptors to get some sort of value out of Goran Dragic, so they don't have to make a decision whether or not they want to buy out the player. So the expectation 100% is Goran Dragic is going to be on the move for the Raptors. Many reporters have been saying it's almost certain that the Raptors are going to get this deal done. Now, we knew that was likely going to happen from last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, but it is going to come down to the other pieces the Raptors want with this team, because all of a sudden, there maybe are a bit less questions about the identity of this Raptors team. This Raptors team is really, really good. When they are healthy, they are really good. And right now they're healthy, and all of the players are starting to click on the court. That small ball lineup is really starting to click on the court. I mean, there's 5 guys in the starting lineup, in Siakam, Van Vliet, Gary Trent, OG Anunoby, and Scotty Barnes. Those are 5 guys who can routinely give you 20 points per game and can just go off for 30 plus on any given night. Siakam is doing that the most these days, but all of them are sensational offensive players, and right now they are playing extremely well together. They are learning about the strengths and weaknesses of each other and able to exploit the other team in many different ways. What specific player needs to have a good game for the Raptors to be successful? What specific player can really go at the other team because of some sort of matchup that we've addressed in the pregame? These are all questions that we're now starting to figure out. These are all questions that we are now starting to understand. I think a lot of it is coming down to the just sensational play of Pascal Siakam. Again, should have been an all-star, but honestly, the way he's playing, the way the Raptors are playing, it is not outrageous to suggest he is going to be in some all-NBA discussions. Right now, when he is going and he's like the primary ball handler, his assists are career high levels, his rebounding is career high levels. Like when he is running the point for this team and he is able to execute the plays as the number 1 ball handler and the number 1 first option, this team is a force to be reckoned with. And in the last couple of weeks, Atlanta have realized that. Miami have realized that. It's just been a sensational run of games for the team and for the player. To supplement this great team that already is, turning into such a good offensive threat, you're really getting that true center to help out with the defensive side of the game could actually take this team to the next level. I was kind of hesitant, and I still am hesitant to trade away that first-round pick. But, if you can move that protected pick in order to get the center that can really take this team to the next level, I mean, this team is damn good. There are some damn good players, and it sure is missing that depth and missing that true center. But if you can go get one of those things at the deadline, this team can flourish even further. The consistency is going to be key. It's easy to get excited with a 6-game win streak because you could easily go on a 5-game losing streak the way this season has gone, but I'm not as sure about that. I am more confident in this team kicking on to the next level. This just reminds me of that 2013-2014 team, absolutely. With a little bit of a slow start, there was that blockbuster trade in the middle of the season. The Raptors did end up moving on from Rudy Gay, and it kind of turned this team into a different beast. This season didn't have that blockbuster trade in the middle. Regardless, when the team really started to click and get to the next level, they were a fun team to watch. They were winning games. They played with little expectations, just went out there and played their best basketball and got themselves into a playoff position. And I'm feeling like this team is going to repeat that fate and get themselves into a playoff position. So why not at the deadline go after players who can actually help this team go and succeed, go and find their ceiling, go and get to the next level. Goran Dragic, that trade, I wouldn't bank on that getting us the talent that we need to get to the next level, but maybe at the very least, give us some depth. Maybe even you go and trade Goran Dragic in a second for Gary Harris. Maybe something like that. You get Gary Harris who can actually help your team out off of the bench, give yourself some shooting, give yourself some bench scoring. Things like that Goran Dragic can go for. But it comes to the bigger ones, trading for a true shooter, things of that nature. I expect Masai Ujiri to be on the phone. However, I'm not that confident anything is going to happen. So I would go into the trade deadline with the expectation Goran Dragic is going to be on the move. That would be great news for the Raptors. I think that would be a successful deadline if we manage to pull it off. We're not as successful, but not unsuccessful. It's like, okay, we did what we had to do. We're going to sit and hold what we have. That's fine. For this trade deadline to really be successful, I think Masai Ujiri's got a trade up his sleeve. I think there is some sort of trade that is going to happen. Whether it's going to be the big one we wanted for the center, whether it's going to be the big one we wanted for some real depth on our bench, that remains to be seen. I am not above 50% confidence levels in that happening. I'm hopeful, but I'm not confident. But I am confident some sort of trade is going to happen. I am confident Masai Ujiri is going to get something done. I would expect at least 2 trades from the Raptors from the deadline, Goran Dragic and something else. Could be the big one, could be a small one like trading, prospect for a second-round pick, free up a roster spot for this team. We'll see what happens, but I'm just saying, last year we weren't expecting really anything other than maybe moving Lowry, and we got a Norman Powell for Gary Trent Jr. trade. So this season, with Masai Ujiri, Bobby Webster, the Raptors, a 6-game win streak, anything can happen. If you made it to the end of the video, you're an absolute legend. I know it's kind of difficult circumstances. I am on vacation, but hey, I'm going out of my way on my vacation to bring you the Toronto Raptors content, so that absolutely deserves a like. And if you enjoyed this video, then you're gonna enjoy the ones where I'm in my professional studio, not quite professional, my actual recording studio, even more so. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel with that big button down below. We're on a road to 9,000 subscribers. Sorry again for the big microphone cover. It does help a little bit with the wind and the sounds. There's a ton of cars going by. It is pretty early in the morning, so kind of rush hour situation in London, but hopefully it still sounds okay. Hopefully the video still comes out right. Hopefully you still enjoy, because again, I'm trying my hardest. I'm on vacation until the 14th, and today is the 9th. So I've got a few more of these coming, but then eventually we'll be back in the regular studio, back to that great Toronto Raptors content.